With the average price of a new car now hovering near $50,000, you would expect strong safety, solid build quality, and long-term reliability. The truth is very different. Many modern cars drain your bank account, push your patience to the limit, and still start begging for retirement before hitting 100,000 miles. We are talking about 10 car brands so bad that only careless buyers keep falling for them. Starting with number 10, Nissan. Once a respected name, Nissan started sliding after the merger with Renault. What came next was a clear drop in quality, reliability, and trust. The biggest failure has been their CVT transmissions. They overheat, slip, and fail, sometimes well before 100,000 miles. Replacement costs usually land between $4,000 and $5,000, and the issue still is not fully solved. Then there is the QR25DE engine disaster. The pre-cat breaks apart, debris gets sucked back into the engine, and it destroys itself. This engine showed up in everything from the Sentra to the Altima. By the time Nissan tried to patch that flaw, CVT failures were already widespread. Instead of changing course, they doubled down on CVTs to save money and inflate fuel economy numbers. Model after model followed, all carrying familiar problems: oil leaks, excessive oil burning, rust issues, recall after recall. Even resale value collapsed. Consumer Reports ranked Nissan last among Japanese brands for reliability, and that result surprised no one paying attention. Insiders point to Renault pushing for higher sales at any cost. That meant aggressive cost-cutting, cheaper materials, weaker parts, and designs that did not hold up long-term. Nissan loyalists argue these cars last if treated gently with non-stop maintenance. But let's be honest, no one wants a car that feels like a punishment just for being driven. Sitting in ninth place is General Motors. Selling millions of cars is one thing, making them last is another. GM has been around for over a century, yet it still carries a reputation for doing the bare minimum where it matters most. Many of its vehicles feel cheap inside, with hard plastics, weak trim, and paint that chips or rusts far too early. These cars often feel rushed, not finished. Mechanical problems only add to the frustration. Drive shaft vibrations, engine failures, and weak transmissions show up far too often. These are not rare flukes, they are common complaints. The core issue is how GM develops its vehicles. Time and again, products are pushed out the door before the engineering is truly sorted. Speed takes priority, while long-term reliability takes a back seat. That mindset leads to recalls, repeated repairs, and angry owners. The 2014 ignition switch scandal is the clearest example, where delays and poor decisions led to deaths and shattered trust. That damage never fully went away. Even today, recall handling can feel slow, and customer support often feels like an afterthought once the sale is done. There is an old joke that sums it up well. If GM made a pen, it would weigh 14 pounds, use 1,400 parts, and most of them would only be available at a dealer. Overcomplicated and overpriced has become part of the brand's identity, and this mess is just the warm-up. One off-road vehicle ahead barely makes it past the starting line. Before we go any further, hit subscribe. This list is only heating up. Number 8 is Jeep. The brand sells tough looks and off-road promises, but day-to-day ownership often tells another story. Many models sit near the bottom for owner satisfaction and long-term dependability, and there are clear reasons for that. Parts wear out early, electronics act up, and repairs add up fast. Some fans blame owners for pushing their Jeeps too hard. That excuse does not hold up. A vehicle should handle the lifestyle it advertises. It should not break down just because it left the pavement. Jeep talks about freedom and grit right up until it leaves you stuck somewhere you never planned to stop. The saying, "Great Jeeps are built, not bought," is not praise, it is a heads-up. Most Jeeps are not truly trail-ready from the factory. Real capability often means spending thousands more on upgrades. New buyers fall for the image, then realize they paid premium money for a long-term project. Yes, the Wrangler can hold resale value better than many cars. That does not cancel out poor fuel economy, stiff rides, or repeated shop visits. Unless you plan to rebuild your Jeep piece by piece, or enjoy wrenching every weekend, this brand delivers more fantasy than real freedom. Number 7, Jaguar. If you ever wanted the feel of a Rolls-Royce without paying Rolls-Royce money, this was the brand people talked about. Jaguar was once admired for its looks and calm presence, often called the poor man's Rolls. That image came at a cost most buyers did not see at first, and over time the reputation fell apart. The real trouble began after Jaguar merged with British Leyland. Quality control slipped fast, cost-cutting took priority, and engineering standards dropped. Cars like the Series 2 XJ and early XJS looked stunning from the outside, but underneath they were full of problems. Owners dealt with oil leaks, electrical failures, and build quality that felt more like trial and error than careful design. That past still follows Jaguar today. In modern reliability reports, the brand often sits near the bottom. Repairs are expensive and often need far more labor than expected. Even basic jobs can turn into nightmares. On classic models like the E-Type, replacing rear brakes requires dropping the differential, a job that can cost several times more in labor than the same repair on a normal car. Modern Jaguars are packed with screens, computers, and performance features. They look sharp and drive well when everything works. The issue is that almost every system depends on shared electronics. One small fault can trigger a chain of failures. Jaguar still turns heads, but ownership comes with a clear warning. When the lights on the dash come on, the bill usually follows. Number 6 is Chrysler. For decades, it has been the poster child of poor reliability, cheap materials, and corner-cutting design. The interiors feel like they were molded from recycled toy plastic. Buttons fail early, panels rattle nonstop, and that is often on day one. Many critics say the problem is not budget, it is attitude. This brand has not just struggled with quality, it has largely brushed it aside. Progress has been slow and shallow. Even after years of complaints, many Chrysler models remain loaded with serious design problems. The Pacifica Hybrid is a clear example. It presents itself as a safe, family-focused minivan, yet underneath sits a long list of issues. Fire risks and battery failures have followed this model for years. In 2024 alone, Chrysler recalled over 15,000 Pacifica VHEVs due to battery defects, with reports of vehicles catching fire while parked. Transmission trouble is another constant issue. Owners report harsh gear changes, delayed shifts, sudden failures, and random stalls. Even newer models are not spared. Unexpected shutdowns, loss of power on steep hills, and brake lockups continue to surface. These are not isolated complaints, they form a pattern that spans multiple years and platforms. This is not just about one bad vehicle. It reflects a brand that refuses to fix deep-rooted problems. Buying a Chrysler may look affordable at first, but the repair bills and safety risks arrive quickly. Cheap upfront almost always turns expensive later. Number 5. Volkswagen. Volkswagen sits right where you would expect among German brands. It is no more or less dependable than its rivals, and it usually costs a bit less than Audi or Mercedes. That lower sticker price looks appealing at first, but it does not mean lower ownership stress. The real cost shows up later, long after the paperwork is signed. Spend 5 minutes online and the pattern is hard to ignore. Owners keep talking about breakdowns once the odometer crosses 100,000 miles. This is not random noise. It is years of complaints stacked on top of each other. Electrical faults, buggy infotainment systems, warning lights with no clear cause, and problems even dealers struggle to explain are common themes. Consumer Reports backs this up. Recent Volkswagen models score below average for reliability. Used models barely pass, and some do not even manage that. Repairs can be extreme. Certain V10 TDI models require removing the entire drivetrain just to fix issues that should be routine. That is not normal upkeep. It is an expensive nightmare dressed up as German engineering. Service schedules do not help either. Volkswagen's factory intervals are overly hopeful. If you wait until the manual says service is due, you are already behind. Owning a Volkswagen means constant monitoring, learning fixes on forums, and relying on specialists who know these cars inside out. It stops being simple transportation and turns into a demanding hobby. Moving on to number 4 is Volvo. The brand built its name on crash protection and clean Scandinavian styling. But safe does not always mean dependable. Models like the XC40, XC60, and XC90 have struggled badly in recent reliability reports. Consumer Reports rated the XC40 below average in both 2022 and 2023, and newer versions have not fixed the pattern. Owners report frequent electrical problems, failing climate controls, and in-car systems that shut off without warning. These issues are not small annoyances. They interfere with engine performance, cabin comfort, and even core safety functions. When software acts up in a modern Volvo, the whole car can feel unstable. The braking system has its own serious record. In 2023, Volvo recalled more than 27,000 vehicles, including the 2023 XC40 and XC60, after a software fault caused the brake assist system to stop working. That is not a minor defect. That is a real safety risk that puts drivers in danger. Running costs make the situation worse. Owners can expect to spend about $769 per year on maintenance. Over 10 years, that climbs to roughly $13,000 just to keep the car functional. That is luxury-level money for reliability that falls short of average. Yes, the styling gets attention. But underneath the good looks is a car that feels fragile, demanding, and always one software error away from trouble. Make sure your budget and patience are stronger than the badge on the hood. Third place goes to Mitsubishi. Once a strong name, now barely noticed on the road. The core issue is simple: the brand cannot keep pace. While competitors roll out modern tech, smart features, and fresh styling, this lineup feels frozen in the past. The infotainment is bare bones, the cabins look old, and the driving experience is so average that calling it forgettable feels kind. Low pricing does not fix the problem. Yes, the sticker looks friendly, but buyers want value, not just a low number. When a brand lags behind on updates year after year, that price starts to feel like a sacrifice instead of a smart buy. Questions around long-term reliability still hang in the air, and the lineup is so thin it raises doubts about how serious the company even is about this market. Sales numbers back it up. More than 20 years ago, Mitsubishi peaked in the US with 345,000 vehicles sold. By 2009, that number collapsed to just 53,000 units. That is not a slow decline, it is a full nosedive. Mitsubishi did not fall because of one bad car. It happened because of years of missed updates, a shrinking footprint, and vehicles that feel like a second choice. Unless early 2000s styling and weak upgrades are your thing, your money is better spent elsewhere. Number 2, Fiat. The Italian badge sells style and personality, but reliability is where the story falls apart. Across owner forums and dependability surveys, Fiat often sits near the bottom. These are not rare problems either. Owners talk about engine failures, transmission issues, and electrical faults popping up far too often. Build quality does not help. Small cosmetic problems slowly turn into real mechanical stress, making ownership frustrating over time. Recalls have also hurt trust in the brand. A clear example is the 2013 to 2016 Fiat 500e, which was recalled because faulty power inverter modules could trigger dangerous voltage spikes. RepairPal gives Fiat a 3.5 out of 5 for reliability, ranking it 18th out of 32 brands. That is not the worst score on paper, but it is far from reassuring. Average annual repair costs sit around $538, which is high for a small car that is meant to be cheap and easy to own. The Fiat 500 has its own repeat issues as well. Suspension problems are common, with owners reporting clunking noises, excessive bouncing, and unstable rides even over mild bumps. Worn or poorly designed shocks are usually the cause. Fiat can feel fun for short drives and city use. But if you want long-term confidence and fewer repair visits, this is one brand many buyers end up regretting. Number 1, Tesla. It once led the EV wave, but today it pulls in complaints at a steady rate. Consumer Reports placed it 19th for reliability, and that spot came from real issues, not nitpicks. Owners report uneven panel gaps, screen failures, battery glitches, and software meltdowns that feel constant. Nearly everything runs through electronics, doors, brakes, steering, climate control. When one system goes down and a restart does nothing, the car can be stuck. Once the warranty ends, repairs get painful fast. Fixing a camera or sensor often starts around $1,500. The central screen costs much more. When that screen fails, the car feels useless. Add the Cybertruck to the mix and the doubts grow. It arrived 2 years late, cost far more than promised, and looks like something built by a kitchen appliance company with a military budget. The design grabs attention, but that is not the real problem. The daily issues are over 46,000 recalls, sharp body edges, poor visibility, and doors that need explanations. Even parking it turns into work, not driving. Tesla said it would rewrite the rules. Instead, it burned trust, drained bank accounts, and missed the mark for many buyers. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.